Aruni Wijesinghe is a project manager, ESL teacher, erstwhile belly dancer instructor, and occasional chef. She has been published in anthologies and journals both nationally and internationally, and has collections forthcoming with Moontide Press and Silver Star Laboratory. She lives a quiet life in Orange County with Jeff, Jack, and Josie. Take it away, Aruni.
Thanks, Yvonne. Thank you, Viva, Nikolai, and Yvonne. I'm honored to be here. I was so excited to get published in Dryland. It was like a huge goal unlocked for me last year. So thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for hearing me. So I have a handful of poems. First, I'd like to start with the poem that was published in Dryland. Um, it came out of a pact I made with a friend. We both promised each other to write poems about Judy Blume, the children's author. So this is my offering. If Judy Blume was my aunt, her name would be my middle name instead of a Sanskrit word for a flower that doesn't grow in New York City. At family parties, I would sit with her while she'd sneak Virginia Slims. We'd skip the rice and curry, steal away to McDonald's for burgers and Cokes. I'd finally have the life I checked out of the school library, the simplicity of meatloaf dinners and Sean Cassidy records. She'd give me a soft focus adolescence and the reassurance that I would eventually bud, my body flowering on its own mysterious schedule. She'd gift me a diary, tell me to start with lists of boys' names, streets, colors. Andrew Mallon, the two Aldo Leones, Revere Place, Howard Avenue, Lester Drive, Dogwood Pink. These lists would become my answers. So I was so excited once I got this published. I decided it would be a cornerstone in my upcoming collection. So I'll read a couple of things from that later on. I had a book come out, my first book, Baby, I co-authored with some friends. It's called The Undulating Line. It explores the connection between belly dance and poetry. So it's some essays, some prompts, and some poems. So this is an erasure poem I erased from the preface to 1001 Arabian Nights, which focuses on the relationship between Scheherazade and the Sultan. But really, what saves her life is her relationship with her sister. So this poem to me is about how sisterhood saves our lives. Her tale begins, Sister, I want your help as a last favor, your company the last night I am alive. Wake me before the dawn and speak, I beg you. One of your charming stories shall deliver the people. The hour arrived, bade her raise her veil, her eyes full. A sister tenderly grant me, before the sun rises, one of your charming stories. Pleasure of hearing you. Answer, sister. As my sister asks, said she. So Scheherazade began. I'm working on a chapbook with Moontide Press. It's all erasure poetry, all erased from Love in the Time of Cholera, which to me, if I had a Bible, that would be it, because I think so much about the human existence is in the pages of this book. So this is the first poem I erased from Love in the Time of Cholera, and it's the title poem of the collection, An Epidemic of Cholera. Victims struck down, responsible for our history. The eminent dead, exclusive, the less wealthy buried, the poor colonial, separated from the city. No room left in the churches. Many nameless civic heroes grew thin. Doors did not open again. The orchard a cemetery, graves deep enough to bury God. And the irony that I'm erasing a book about an epidemic in the middle of an epidemic didn't occur to me until I was already in it. So it just struck me how we've all been colonized during this last year. And I think it's a good thing that more people understand about colonization, even if it comes in this way. Um, I wrote a poem in response to a prompt, and the prompt was make up for a mistake you made in the past. And it got traction late last year, and it was published right around the time of the inauguration and dedicated to Madam Vice President, who is South Asian. And to see someone who looks like me rise to a seat of power is something I never thought I'd live to see. But I didn't write it for her. I wrote it as an apology to myself. Cardamom vowels. Your name is not an apology, the sound kowtowing to ears accustomed to Jennifer's and Debbie's. You are a namesake for a temple rising in the Chao Phraya River, face to the morning sun. Your name is mantra, meant for repetition. Your name is not a question, voice rising at the end. Unlearn the habit of asking. Hold the magic of Sanskrit in your throat. Orient yourself with definitions. Red dawns, lotus offerings, the padding steps of lion's feet in forests of rare trees, groves that tremble incantation. Your name is not a punchline. You are not obliged to accept awkward nicknames and laugh, not required to contort your tongue into a foreign shape. Don't grow towards mispronunciation, dividing yourself into two people. Remove ill-fitting shoes that chafe along the seams. Roam barefoot in the halls of your name. Unlearn a lifetime of answering to not your name. Make them taste your name, their unknowing tongues prickling with tamarind. Shape their mouths around cardamom vowels, your syllables turmeric. Teach them to whisper spice, intone fire. And I want to thank you, Viva and Nikolai, for asking me how to pronounce my name. I've lived a lifetime where nobody bothered to ask. And it's taken me 50 years to stand up and correct people. So thank you. Thank you. It's been a year. And if you're a person of color, it's been an especially illuminating year. Cold comfort food. I scour the internet, looking for recipe closest to ummi's, then grab my car keys for a trip to Walmart. I push my cart with a wobbly wheel up and down the aisles, searching for names. Kraft, Chicken of the Sea, Vegol, and Ritz. I collect ingredients while the calendar pages flutter. At home in the kitchen, I read the blue and orange box, feel the weight of prepare as directed. Open cans, toss the jagged lids carelessly in the bin. Measure milk, cut butter into neat pats, flake tuna into pink splinters. Swirl together in a heavy-bottomed pot, then spill into a greased Pyrex dish. Sand the top with cracker crumbs. I stare in the little oven window and wait. Today, the whole house smells like 1974. I serve a portion, always an edge piece where the noodles are brownest, and every forkful fills me with a formica-countered childhood. I swallow innocence. I swallow ignorance of how my mother prepared us meals like tuna casserole and hamburger helper instead of paripu and kukul musk curry. I swallow years of my family feeding ourselves on America, the country that decades later spits us out, desperate to rinse the taste of immigrants from its snarling mouth. The next day, I pull the dish from the refrigerator, peel back the foil. I stand barefoot on the tile floor, eat directly from the pan, not bothering to heat leftovers. Every bite sticks in my throat, congealed. I choke each mouthful down. I can't bring myself to waste memory. Little known fact, I love tuna casserole, and I make a pan and have 2 bites and think, why did I want to eat this? But I know why I want to eat it, because I want to turn back time. This is my last poem, and this is a love story to the first 10 years my family was in the US, which is what my full-length collection will be about. And it'll be titled To Revere Place, which was our first house in New York. The things left. You think that you left things behind, forgotten in the coat closet at To Revere Place, tucked in the back behind the winter coats and ice skates, or left behind in the garage, leaning against the wall closest to Ummy's orange AMC Hornet, the one with the AM radio only, songs that drifted out the speakers, songs from Grease soundtrack, hopelessly devoted to you, and you're the one that I want. Acting out scenes from the movie, the neighborhood kids taking turns at Danny and Sandy and Rizzo. Or those other songs left in the cabinet of the big black console stereo crouching in the basement. Echoes of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, electric sliding up the stairs and into the kitchen where Thothi is blowing up more balloons that he rubs against his curly hair to generate the static that sticks them to the wall. And on Monday morning, there will still be crepe paper streamers left, scotch taped to the wood paneling, still crumpled wrapping paper left on the floor, exposed gifts of Monopoly and Connect Four piled on a folding table, and leftover birthday cake sweating sugar onto a Pyrex dish in the kitchen fridge. The pink roses bleeding into the white frosting, ballerina candles blown out, tilting arabesques next to your icing name, left, waiting for you to eat, like you eat the dogwood trees, pink and red in the front yard of To Revere Place, eat the tough-skinned jeans, stiff and impossibly indigo, eat the purple banana seat bike whizzing down Howard Avenue, eat the 17-year cicadas and the baseball cards and the last half ounce of Ummy's bluegrass eau de toilette. You've eaten all these things because we grew up in a home where nothing ever goes to waste, nothing left on the plate. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aruni. Can't wait till your books come out, and hopefully, when they do, we can actually go to like live readings and have like book parties and stuff. Um, Before I move on to our last featured reader,